Hey Boise, how you doing? My name is Kelly. I'm a materials science student at Boise State University. All the research I'm going to share with you today wouldn't be possible without all these amazing people, my mentor Dr. Grignard, and our funders at the bottom here. So I want to give them a big round of applause for the work they do. All right, so we're going to move pretty quickly. We're going to go from DNA nanotechnology to thin film solar. So buckle up. If you miss anything, you can download the slides. There's tons of bonus content, free software you can download, TED Talks, and ways to get your kids involved with science. So please go and check out these slides after the talk. So let's talk about DNA. How do we make nanoscale shapes? This is the process of DNA folding together to form a rectangle. We can make trillions of these in minutes, and we can fit them in a test tube of about this size. We don't have to stop at rectangles, though. This was my first project, was making the Boise State University logo. So on the left, that's a CAD drawing of the complementary base pairing that causes this design to form all by itself when you just apply a little heat and you mix up all these strands in solution. Reza Zadagan, who's in the audience somewhere, also made this box. These are small enough to fit into a cell membrane. You can put a drug molecule inside, and there's a lock on the box that's opened by markers in cancer cells for breast cancer and lung cancer. So how small is this stuff? If you take a human hair and you take a cross-section, in that little orange dot up there, you can fit about 400 bees if you could do a crystalline arrangement. And we have some 3D models here tonight, so if you want to check those out, come find me after the event. So talking about crystalline materials, it turns out that understanding crystals and crystals growth is essential to the US economy, because without crystalline matter, we wouldn't have cell phones, the internet, any of the electronics that make modern life so cool. So the rest of this research aspect will be on crystalline materials. Here's Ned. His group made an awesome DNA crystal. I synthesized their results kind of in the upper right corner there. And we were wondering if we could image these things with light. The problem is that the wavelength of light is much too big to capture the details that we wanted to see. So here's how it works. You take a flashlight and shine it at a wall. You get a bunch of spots. You take a picture of all those spots, and you get some message, but it's really fuzzy and hard to read. So you take the center of each of those fuzzy spots and resolve it into an image. And in the words of Aaron Paul, yeah, science. That's what you get. This is super resolution microscopy. It was a technique that won the Nobel Chemistry Prize in 2014. Thanks to our collaborators at Harvard and the fine people at Boise State, we now have this technology in Boise. So here's some of our data. These are individual elements of a crystal. The end goal of the project is to be able to see the perimeter of a crystal and any defects within it, because with DNA we can get much smaller control over matter than we have right now, which will someday possibly lead to faster computers and smartphones. So transitioning, I'm getting out of this field and into thin film solar research because the sun makes over 9,000 times more energy than all of humanity uses combined. The key is to really capture that and convert it to electricity economically. So NASA, Michael Grotzel, and Henry Snaith have done tremendous work in advancing thin film solar technologies. You can see the crystal structure in the upper right. That's where the magic happens, where light gets turned into electricity. And we're going to be making these at BSU. So when I say thin film, this is a cross-section of one of the solar cells. This is a human hair. You can see this perovskite layer is about 600 times thinner than a human hair. Because of that, Oxford is estimating that these may be up to 90% cheaper than existing solar panels. So we've talked a lot about science, but why? What keeps me up at night is really wondering what kind of world we're going to leave behind for future generations. We've been on an incredible exponential kick since the Industrial Revolution. That's human population growth since 10,000 BC. It's crazy where we're at right now. I mean, how are we going to manage this many people who all want to live well? It's just a very difficult problem. And already we're seeing a lot of impacts. So here's the growth of Las Vegas. Here's the retreat of the Columbia Glacier in Alaska. These things are connected, and this process is happening all over the world right now. These are just two examples over 20 years, right? But where does that leave us? Where does that leave us 50 years from now? Now, Idaho has a strong history of conservation. This is Castle Peak. It wanted to be turned into a mining site. There was a lot of interest in pit mining that, but we blocked that in the 60s and 70s. As Idahoans, we have a responsibility to conserve and to pass those values on. Now, the good news is if we want to provide all the energy that 9 billion people in the future need, we can do it with 3 times the surface area of Nevada. You can see that yellow highlighted area right there. It's not that big. We can just cover that much of the earth with solar and make it happen. So please get involved, download the slides, get your kids involved, take them to STEM events. We need more scientists and engineers. And if you want to fund some research, please talk to me so we can get more people at BSU doing thin film solar. Thank you, Boise.